Maybe it works now. Yay. Okay, I fixed it. Cool. That was really easy. There we go. Okay, cool. Everything is good on this end. And I just wanted to come and like hang out for a little bit for anybody that wants to crochet with me, or just hang out, since I haven't really done a formal video since I have changed this channel into something new. Um, and that's probably not going to happen for a couple of weeks anyway. I have a video that I have recorded, but I haven't done any sort of editing to it. Honestly, we move in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. We move. And so a lot of my stuff is packed away, but I didn't want to pack away my yarn because it gives me something to do, just when I need something to do other than sit my happy ass on the computer. So I have my coffee. I'm going to turn on some music. Obviously, I'm going to use my headphones because copyright, whatnot. And I want you to be able to listen to your own stuff. And so hopefully the next time that I do a live like this, I can have some like lo-fi music playing, and it'll be much better than this plain wall behind me. But we have to move first. And I want to do lives like this often. It would be really cool to be able to do them at least once a month, where I just sit down, hang out, crochet, chat, maybe pull an oracle card or two, answer questions and different things like that. But obviously, I'm having to rebuild this channel from scratch. So there's less people here than on my other channel. So I'm going to turn some music on, and then I have some yarn that I have to wrestle with. I got my Spotify Wrapped, and it turns out I am a vampire. And I'm not surprised because, well, if you follow me on Instagram, you would see why. That's like what a lot of my music is, but that's okay. See, today's day list says, here is some curious wrestling. Curious and wrestling. There's supposed to be something else here, but I don't know what it says. But it says day list, bitter shred afternoon. So that is today's day list. Let's play. The yarn that I am going to be wrestling with and untangling is the same yarn that this came from. God, I wish. Ooh, that's loud. I wish the camera could pick up this color, and maybe it would if I had better light right now. But it's like, the colors are so much more vibrant than what is showing. I hate that. Anyway, I have to wrestle with the rest of it because it got all tangled up in my bag. And I'm going to use the inside of this, so the green, the blue, and the red, to make a beanie for my fiance. Because we're moving somewhere cold and he needs a hat, but he doesn't have any, and he's very particular about the things that go on his head. So that is what's going to be going on here. This is Lion Brand's Mandala Ombre. And what color is this? What colorway? Happy. The happy colorway. So hopefully this isn't too much of a pain in the ass. I'm just going to wind it wind it around. I have a ball winder, but that's packed away. And also, I don't think that would be a good thing to use because it would be loud. So I don't want anything loud on the stream, but maybe I can do some like yarn winding ASMR videos. I think people like those. I have no idea. But this yarn's really, really soft. It's one of the softer acrylics that I've had. Yeah, it's 100% acrylic. It's very soft. It's like, I remember when I would only use Red Heart Super Saver. And like, I'm not a complete yarn snob at this point, but definitely I stay away from Red Heart now. It's too scratchy. I think if I was making something that needed to be more durable, I might use Red Heart. But it's too scratchy. It's too abrasive for anything that I would really want to make that would be touching my skin. This, on the other hand, feels very nice. What is going on? This isn't the worst tangle I've had to fix, so that's a plus. Oh, my chat is set to subscriber only mode. Can I fix that? I don't know if I can fix that right now. I guess subscribe if you want to chat. There. Okay. I think if I can get this all fixed in a timely manner, I will be able to make a beanie before the live is over because they don't take very long to make. And I'm not doing anything fancy with it. He doesn't care. No fancy hats for him. Just something simple and practical, and he is perfectly fine. As long as it keeps his head warm, I don't think it matters to him. Oh, and there's a knot. Of course there's a knot. And it came apart. So we're just going to tie that and fix it. It's like finding the factory knot in your yarn is like the worst. Especially if you didn't take the time ahead of time to wind your yarn into a ball or a cake or whatever to find them ahead of time and retie them. And you happen to come across it while you're actively making something, that's the worst. It's like they don't, when they tie the knots in the factory in the middle of a skein of yarn, it's like they don't tie the knots very well. And they always come apart. So I prefer to redo them when I come across them. Or just take them apart and treat it like a color change so that I can make sure that the ends get woven in adequately so that stuff doesn't come apart. thankfully, I've never had something that I make or that I made come apart on me. That's always my worst fear, is that I'm going to make something for someone and then it's going to come apart and they're going to be like, oh my God, this thing that you made for me, it came apart and I hate it. Even worse if like they pay for it. That's, oh gosh, somebody orders something in my shop and it's like crossing my fingers the whole time that I am weaving in the ends and tying everything in correctly so that it doesn't come apart. Because, oh God, could you imagine that review that somebody would leave like, oh, I bought this from this person and in like a month it came apart or whatever. That would suck. Hello, Christiana. Yes, you are the only person watching right now, which is okay. It's the middle of the day, and like for me here, it's in the afternoon, one something, but also I'm on the East Coast. So, like a lot of people on the West Coast, it's not even noon yet. So, I just wanted to come hang out and do something over here since I started this channel, and I didn't want to just let it sit until my move is over, which happens in a couple of weeks. So I got that fixed. It's all wrapped around. It's not very pretty, but it works. You're working on a baby blanket for your cousin while watching? There's a little thing that's covering that. I think it's, yeah, for your cousin. That's cool. It's been a long time since I've made a baby blanket. Actually, that's a lie. I made one like last year, earlier this year or something. What colors are you using? What yarn? Tell me all about it. Ooh. So I made the center pull and I pull another ball of crap out of the middle of my yarn. Okay, fixed. What did I use on the other one? It's half doubles or doubles. Those are half doubles. I always forget. I was thinking about doing a separate video on beanies and like how to make the perfect size beanie or the right size beanie every time. Let me move my microphone. I feel like it's catching up or catching every time I move my foot since I'm sitting on the floor. I'm just messing with everything right now. There. That works. Yeah, one thing I struggled with when I first started making beanies is how to make sure that I was making the right size every time. And I found a little trick. I was thinking about making a video about it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I don't know if that would be something that I know it would help people. So I think I might. Once we move and everything gets situated, I'll make some crochet tutorials. 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Oops. I started this with double crochet even though I said it was half double crochet. Two tones of blue, Bernat baby blanket yarn due in February, and it's their first kid. Aw, how exciting! I am honestly, I'm not a fan of making blankets. Baby blankets are different because they're different and cute. But I'm generally not a fan of making blankets because they take so long and I get so bored, which is funny. So I have to like switch up the stitches that I'm using or get a pattern that is more than just a single stitch repeat because otherwise I just can't do it. But that's so exciting. Their first kid due in February, so it's coming quick. I've never used blanket yarn. Is that like the thicker, more fuzzy yarn? Like the stuff that I see people on TikTok making all of their plushies out of now? Uh, oh, okay. Yeah, I've never used that yarn before. I think like my fanciest type of yarn that I've ever used is something like the True the bamboo stuff, which is super soft and silky. It's really nice, but I mean, obviously, I wouldn't make a blanket out of it. That would be a ridiculously expensive blanket because that True yarn is, I think the skeins are like this big, which this is Lion Brand's cotton. But I think the True skeins are like, yeah, 100 grams and they're like $6 a piece. So that would be an expensive blanket. Only make baby and lap blankets. I think maybe eventually I will be more inclined to make them. I have ADHD and I am self-diagnosed ASD, and making blankets and doing the same repetitive thing over and over again is like I can only do it under very certain circumstances, if that makes sense. Like I can make a baby blanket. I can make all kinds of blankets. But I think it's just the fact of like I make the smaller projects, I think, because they're faster, but also it gives me like it makes my brain happy. Like I make a smaller project and I am more accomplished feeling, I guess. It gives my ADHD side of my brain that dopamine hit that, like, look, I finished a thing. Now I can move on to the next thing. Have you ever crocheted socks? You prefer to make smaller projects like socks, gloves, hats. Does it say mug rugs? That's so cute. Um, I've always wanted to crochet socks, but I've always been scared because crochet stitches are not like knitting stitches. You know, they're bigger and chunkier and stuff. And I've always been scared that they wouldn't be very comfortable. Maybe I've just never used the right kind of yarn. is shared, right? Yes, okay. I was making sure that my post shared. Okay. Loops and threads, wool alike yarn. Easier to just knit them. See, I can't knit. I can't knit. I've tried so many times, and it's such a shame because there are so many really, really pretty knitted or knitting patterns out there that if I could knit, I would make in a heartbeat. Most of them are like really cute sweaters and stuff that I just don't think you can replicate with crochet. But crochet is what I can do, so that's what I stick with. I have done Tunisian crochet. I actually have a set of uh, Tunisian crochet hooks that are packed away right now. And I think that's going to be the next goal for me is to try and find some good patterns for Tunisian crochet sweaters or just clothing in general because Tunisian crochet imitates knitting. And I think that could work. Have you ever done anything like that before? Really? Interesting. I may pick up some knitting needles once we move and get situated and give it another shot. Um, I know I told my fiance one time that I wanted to get some knitting needles because I wanted to make this sweater and it has like foxes or something on it. It was so cute. Definitely very much out of the range of a beginner knitter being able to do it. And he was like, you have had knitting needles in the past and you always end up donating them because you can never get the hang of it. And it's just like, no. So I might have to try to convince him. We'll see. Uh-oh, I think I skipped a stitch. That's what I get for talking and crocheting at the same time. Yeah, my first needles, I honestly I don't remember where they came from. I think they were given to me. Someone was going to end like donate all of their uh, knitting supplies, and I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try. And it just didn't work for me. I'm always willing to try again though. And hopefully once we move, my life will get back to normal or some semblance of normal. And I'll have more time. Arm knitting, I'll have to ask my daughter what that is. She's talked about it before. I mean, in theory, I know what it is, I think she knows how to do it. Um, that would be something cool to do together. Maybe we'll get some blanket yarn and arm knit ourselves a blanket. Your arms are the needles. So many good tutorials. Yeah, I'll have to bug her about it because I'm almost positive she has seen tutorials on YouTube for how to do it. That very much fits my child's aesthetic. I'm I'm pretty sure she knows how to do it. I think she has asked me for blanket yarn specifically so she could arm knit herself a blanket. This yarn is twisting as it comes out of the center. Are you getting everything ready for the holidays if you celebrate? I know I'm ready to experience real winter again. Oh, don't apologize. Ooh, words. Don't apologize. It's okay. We're just hanging out. No obligation. That's the word I was looking for. A neighbor's dog got loose. I hope everything's okay. I know if my neighbor's dog got loose while I was walking my dog, it would not be fun. Don't celebrate holidays mostly except for Halloween. But for my mother, I arrive for whatever she plans for. Get together holidays. That sounds about right. That's how it is for us too, mostly. Now that we are not going to be cohabitating, whatever, whichever word is the correct word, uh, with my parents, we can celebrate my holidays instead of the commercialized version of the Christian holidays of the United States. So I'm looking forward to celebrating the solstice when we move, and then Imbolg. So excited. Sorry, I was counting. All of our holidays when we were younger, even living here when we were all living together, they don't, I don't know, they feel really hollow. When I was a kid, it was different because I didn't really have to worry about anything. But now it's like I'm not going to be around any family where we're moving to. We're not going to know literally a single person. We're moving somewhere we've never been before. And I think it's going to be nice just to kind of focus on ourselves and find what is sacred to ourselves as an immediate family instead of like what everybody else expects us to do. Ivy the occultist hosting a video thing about sharing your practices around the holidays. Yeah, Ivy's tag is going to be a really fun thing to go back and watch and like look through as people are doing the videos. Um, I thought about doing the tag, but right now there's just way too much going on for me to participate. But I'm definitely going to be watching what other people do. Um, a lot of the things that I have incorporated into my holidays as like my own traditions have been inspired by things that other people are doing. Um, for example, celebrating the winter solstice. Last year, I held a vigil all night. I stayed up all night on the night of the solstice, the longest night of the year. I lit one candle at sundown. I lit one candle at the halfway point between sundown and sunrise, and I lit another candle at sunrise. And I stayed awake all night. I did some meditation. I did some crafts. I did my yearly divination spread, but it was really a great exercise for me in personal sacrifice for something much bigger than myself. And it was an interesting thing to experience the energy shift on the night of the solstice since I was awake and alone by myself all night long, keeping track of the time, when to light the candle, when to say my prayers, and then just being awake and watching the sunrise come up after staying awake all night long on the longest night of the year was just something that I've never experienced before. And I don't think I'm going to get to do it this year because of the move and the way everything is timed. But I am looking forward to watching the sunrise um, in a new location. Absolutely. And just be watching from here, adding them to Vlogtober Vlogmas playlist. Yeah, that sounds like so much fun. And I think really taking the time to listen to other people like that is a great way to grow for yourself and see what's important to you and be inspired by the things that other people are doing. Luna, hi Luna Wolf. Hello, hello. Don't apologize for being late. We're just hanging out. That's all. I'm working on a hat for my fiance for when we move because he doesn't have one. Yep, small little party so far. Hopefully in the future these get a little bigger, but small parties are perfectly fine with me too. Just working on hat, talking about holiday traditions. A tea party, yes, but I've got coffee. But a tea party works too. One of my favorite mugs. Yours is my favorite. One, two. You know, as someone that grew up really depressed, Eeyore is, yeah, I connect with Eeyore in a lot of ways. There is, oh my gosh, I wonder if I could find it in my phone right now. There is a little sketch drawing type thing that I found a really, really long time ago. And it is a sketch of Eeyore with words underneath it that says, "Weeds are flowers too once you get to know them." And I have always wanted to get that tattooed um, somewhere. But I think it's really important for me to figure out who the artist is and make sure that that's something they're okay with because, um, it's their art. Here it is. I've always wanted to get something like this. The artist says Pamela from 2012. I mean, I could also have um, the tattoo artist design something like that. So I think that will be my next tattoo. The Tao of Pooh. I don't know what that is. Holiday, slowly trying to work through past traumas and find a new light in holiday seasons, make it a place for new beginnings rather than unhappy endings. I get it. I really do. And I think that's part of the reason I'm so excited about moving because owning this house here in Florida with my parents has been great. It's been it's been a way for both of us to grow in our own ways, but it's also been not great because I'm in my 30s and living here, even though we all own equal portions of the home, I still feel like a kid. I still feel like a child. I still feel like I'm treated like a child, even if that's not necessarily the case, but it's definitely coming from past issues. And it's just one of those things that my fiance and I, along with our child, we have not lived on our own in 7 years, at least. Like we were last on our own in California. Before I started the podcast, before I started anything having to do with Round the Cauldron, um, and it's just, we're going to have a new opportunity for this to be a fresh start in so many ways. And I'm so excited. I'm so ready for it. because my fiance doesn't really care about holidays. He's never been a holiday person. He's never even been a birthday person. And they've just never been important to him. And for me, holidays are, holy days, not just some random celebration for whatever reason. So finding the sacredness back in my life and in these holidays is something that I find really important. And that's going to be a big goal for me for 2024. It's a perfect pick for a tat. All right. Isn't it so great? And I've saved it all of these years because that's what I want. Piglet was my favorite as a kid. Now I'm curious what my favorite would be today. Piglet, I don't know if I ever really liked Piglet. Honestly, I wasn't much of a Winnie the Pooh person. I just really like Eeyore. You graduated from massage school? That's so great. Congratulations. I didn't know that. I feel so out of the loop with everything. The Tao of Pooh is like a Buddhist psych eval of the characters. Oh, okay. So I've seen that theory where each of the characters from Winnie the Pooh represents a different psychological um, disease or ailment. That's so interesting. I'm going to have to look that up. Itching to get out of my parents' house too. The only space that is mine is my room. It's starting to feel cramped when I'm trying to be an adult. I fully understand this. 100%. I totally get it. Yeah. It's like, even if you have all of the space, and even if you're being treated like an adult, you don't feel like an adult because you're still the child of your parents living in the same house. So I get it. It's hard while trying to study. I don't blame you. Studying is super important. Like, I can be totally out of the loop. You were doing something super important and you were studying and doing something that you wanted to do. Studying is, yeah, that's important. 'You're waiting for the transcripts from the school? I hope that doesn't take too long. You have to have the transcripts to take the licensing exam, like a graduation certificate or something doesn't count? Or do you have to, like, maybe because you have to have specific grades or something? It can be. 2 more rounds of increases, and then I can stop increasing. So it should take a week. Need to make sure you have all the hours completed and paid the school back. It's an annoying process. Um, that sucks. Like, I mean, I get it, but I'm sorry. Hopefully, it doesn't take the full week, and hopefully, you can get those transcripts back soon so you can take the licensing exam and just be done with it. Mommy and daddy hats to match the baby blanket are such a good idea. I definitely think that you should do that. You want to learn how to crochet, Luna? I am planning on doing like a crochet 101 series. So maybe I can be part of your learning crochet experience. Don't know if Hades can help, but I'm praying to him to try and help things become more smooth. Love that. Gotta go massage my mom. I'll be back. I think Hades could probably help. Hades is like associated with success and stuff, and from the way that I understand it. Um, and from what I understand and what I've heard from people who work with Hades, he is very much there for the people that work with him. There's no harm in trying. That's so nice. My grandma taught me how to crochet when I was about 9 years old. And, I dropped it there for a while because back then it wasn't a cool thing to be a teenager and know how to crochet and make stuff. Now, not so much. But anything else, I have basically taught myself how to do. The difference between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like what my grandma taught me versus what I can do now is my grandma could not freehand a crochet item. She had to follow patterns. Whereas me, I'm more of a deconstructed kind of person. So if I can figure out how to make it, then I can make it without a pattern. Mercury is also about speed. Gifts of coffee and other fast moving drinks and spices are great offerings. Agreed. I've never worked with Mercury. I have used coffee in spells though. Coffee grounds and brewed coffee, especially espresso, as like a kick to the spell. Like, here, I need you to do this. Like, right now. It needs to be done and finished. It's definitely helpful. More likely to work with the planet than the deity, but also ask ancestors for help and give them the coffee. Yep, I think that's a good idea. Planetary magic is something that I am not that knowledgeable in. It's one of those things that's been on my list to research and learn more about, but it's also one of those things that doesn't take priority because I have a million other things going on. But I do know Mercury is good for speed and communication and messages. I work my prosperity altar on Thursdays because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thursdays are associated with success. So maybe I know more than I give myself credit for, but it's not a big part of my practice. Just learning about different deities might learn with, and also the timing options of planetary magic. Yeah, deities have always been more of an interest for me. Started with the Greek gods. Even now, the Greek gods, even though I don't work with them specifically, they hold a special place in my heart because they're the first gods that I learned about in depth, if that makes sense. Um, not as a whole, but different deities specifically. Like Hades and Persephone will always be there. I was going to say be there for me, but that's not quite what I mean. I've always resonated with the story of Hades and Persephone and just their energies in general. But I am currently learning more about different Irish deities. So that's where my path has taken me now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you have any deities that you're interested in general, Christiana? Always enjoyed mythology, folklore. Never thought of working with them until recently. Also, recently learned Lu is the god of crafts. Trying to learn more about that. Yes, Lu Lamfada, Lu of the long arm, Lu the many skilled god. He is so one of my favorite stories about Lu is when he was trying to get into um I can't remember if it's Nuada's kingdom. I think so. Nuada, who was king at the time, he was trying to. Was it Lou that was like that? Maybe it wasn't Lou. I can't remember right now. I'm getting them mixed up. Um, a really good book to learn about Lou, if you don't have it already, is Morgan Daimler's book on Lou. I did a book review on it on my website. Um, but it talks about Lou from an Irish perspective, but it also talks about Lou and the different deities that may potentially be associated with Lou from Ireland, Scotland, Wales, the Isle of Man, and the other surrounding Celtic areas, because the Celtic countries all had similar stories, even though the deities themselves are distinctly different. Uh, but that's a really good book, and that's a good place to start if you're learning more about Lou. Now I'm going to have to look up that story to see if I'm thinking about Lou or if I'm thinking about Cuchulainn. Yes. Okay. So it was Lou. Uh, so he's trying to get into Nuada's court. And as he's at the door of the kingdom, the door of the castle or whatever, he has to basically prove that he has a skill that Nuada doesn't already have access to. And so he's talking about all of these things that he can do. And the gatekeeper's like, nope, sorry, we have somebody that can do that already. Nope, sorry. Oh, this person can already do that. So unless you can offer something that nobody else can, you can't come in and you can't be part of the court. But then Lou says, well, do you know somebody that can do everything? And then they let him in because Nuada didn't have anybody that could do everything. So Lou is like many skilled in the entire sense of the word. He can do everything. What did he send me? Sorry, my fiance sends me YouTube shorts while he's at work. He sent me one about if vampires don't need air to breathe, then they would make like the best scuba divers because they could just wear a backpack full of rocks and walk on the bottom of the ocean. And I think that's perfect. I think that's perfect. Oh my gosh, it's already 2 o'clock. I think I'll hang around for a few more minutes and then I will have to go. And I thought I was going to get more of my hat done, but all I got finished was my increase rounds. Universe so far has pulled me towards a traditionally known Celtic fae and from that family side, and as a whole, Germanic paganism. Yeah, there are so many resources out there for information that if you ever have questions, like let me know. and I can try to help you out as best I can, I guess, or at least point you in a direction of someone that might have an answer. Right? Like it's a cute coaster, but now I need it to take shape of a hat. And I'm so bummed because the colors, let me finish this stitch. The colors are so much better than what you can see like on the screen. I'm going to get my flashlight out on my phone to see if I can make it better. Mm. No, that didn't really help very much. Well, I'll take pictures of it and put it on Instagram or something and fix the colors so that it shows up properly. I can't wait until I get to the blue. I think the transition to blue is going to be so cool. We started adding books to my thrift books wish list. That's a good idea. Oh, you can also use there's something called Storygraph, which is kind of like Goodreads but better. It's not owned by Amazon. Um, and you can search by ISBN or topic or whatever and add books to your like want to read pile. And then you can track your reading, and then you can leave reviews if you want and keep your own little notes and things like that, for all of the books that you've read, and you can read the reviews from other people. I really like it too because it has options for like if you're reading fiction, um, people will tell you about like trigger warnings and things to be aware of for fiction books. Why do I feel like I messed this up? Whatever. It's called Storygraph. Let me. It's an app. Well, it's also a website. I'll put it in the chat. I think the website is thestorygraph.com. Yes, I found it. And it's free, which is great. There, that's the website. I think it's a really great alternative to Goodreads. And they do authors and stuff that have accounts on there can do giveaways and promote their books. And it's very much geared toward like the average reader. Instead of just here's all of these great reviews on Goodreads. Now here's the link so you can go buy them on Amazon. It's not like that. I think I was supposed to do this in double crochet instead of half double crochet. Oh well. Oh, I was wanting to measure it. That's what I wanted to do. It needs to be like 7 point something inches across. Yes, this was supposed to be double crochet. That's okay. 7.5 inches across. Well, looks like I get to frog my little coaster because I got too carried away with talking and should have done double crochet instead of half double crochet. Started a journal for book names and apps websites that are discussed during lives. Oh, is it like a commonplace book? I've heard people talk about commonplace books. Right, Ribbit? That's what I get for talking. I wanna find, like, some music that I can play during the lives that won't give me a copyright strike. That way, for those moments where I'm counting or I don't have anything to say, it's not just dead air. I think there's some out there. I just need to for my next live, I just need to set it up using my streaming software instead of just using YouTube's integrated webcam thing because honestly, it's not that great. Then I can have like a pause screen and I can have a please wait, the stream is starting soon screen, and I can have music playing so that it's not super quiet. So I am gonna go find my yarn winder and wind this up. Got the idea from watching the monthly lives with Hearth. That's a good idea. I need to do something similar, but I just haven't. I'm really bad at keeping a journal for myself anyway. Um, yeah, it was definitely a struggle, but my yarn winder will fix it and it'll make it pretty again instead of just whatever this nonsense is. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I hope you made some progress on your blanket. And I hope to do. I'm. I might be back next week, next Monday. I'm gonna see if maybe I can work that into my schedule. Next week is gonna be really, really packed with lots of stuff because I think we're leaving that weekend, and then we'll be in our new house. I'm so ready for it to be over. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in my next live maybe. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.